Hello guys, good morning. So how many of you can hear me? And how many of you can see my screen? Okay. So guys, my name is Sagar and I'm the trainer for this batch. So how many of you have attended my demo in the past, or this is your first demo? Okay. And how many of you are familiar with Python? There is option to unmute yourself.
Hi, I have no knowledge of Python. This is basically my first time doing any workshop, any demo, or anything about Python.
Okay. Okay, so all of you are from zero knowledge on Python or automation or any automation tools. Okay, okay, so that should not be any issue because we start any batch from very scratch. So just let me brief you. This batch is about the automation and the programming language and the tools that we would be using would be Python, Ansible, API. These are the three tools we use. And from certification point of view, we touch the Cisco Devnet curriculum too. So I just add plus everywhere. Okay, these are the total module for the full batch, full curriculum. And from the vendor point of view, we showcase the examples on Cisco, Palo Alto, FI, LTM, and there are the SDN orchestrators, controllers, which are on the DevNet sandbox like SDWAN, ACI, Meraki. I hope you guys are from the networking background. Okay, so if you're from the application side or software side, then this course is not irrelevant for you. So you need to be a network engineer, and then you can relate yourself with the automation topics we discuss. Okay. So, guys, as usual, I keep this open Q&A. This particular slide. So, what is your traditional networking challenges, and that you would like to automate in the traditional network?
Configuration
Configuration of what?
of switches or routers, or
Okay.
like zero touch provisioning.
So that zero touch is not available on all the devices. Okay. I
So
mean, on SDNs and all, okay, but if you talk about access layer distribution, so that template concept may not be there. You have to configure one by one. Okay, so I would say that configuration on any devices, on any network devices, is always a traditional method. What else?
So let's say we have some info in Excel sheet where we can pull that info and put it in the format of commands so that we can. It's a bulk config. Like let's say we have 1,000 stores and we need to configure routes for all the stores. but we know the format and we have the info in an Excel sheet. We need to pull that and put it in format where we can configure all the routes, something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna write it as fetch from Excel reading and
Mhm.
use it for configuration or show commands or taking SSH.
Yes, yeah. And one more thing is like, let's say we need to pull some info from all the devices. Let's say we need what's a manage something like that. Uh, Pull specific info from all the devices in the network.
Hmm.
For example, what's the syslog configuration on all the Palo Alto firewalls in our network, so
Okay.
that yeah, we are not getting the syslogs to the syslog server, and we need to pull the syslog IP configured on all the Palos so that we can change it if there is something wrong configured before, something like that.
Okay, so I will say it as inventory buildup where you are preparing your Excel sheet for auditing or for reporting with all the management IP version, syslog logs or anything related to report making. Okay, this is usually called as report making or audit reports.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, what else do you do in your traditional networking?
I'm just thinking, like, if let's say you have hundreds of devices in an enterprise environment, and you have to, let's say, harden the SSH, for example, and you have to push down the same configuration 100 times. I guess this would be
Yeah.
a good way to use automation.
Yeah, I agree with that case study. So we can keep it under configuration part itself. I can
Okay.
say a mass bulk config on any reasons or any XY factor. Okay, configuration.
Right. Uh,
What else do you think that we usually do in a networking, but we could have automated it?
Or like can say maybe device management, like upgrading software and license renewal.
Okay, so management, upgrading,
Yeah.
degrading, or the license or cert management. Okay, all
Even
right.
Also
for
maybe monitoring.
Okay, so we can say monitoring.
even
When
for
you say
vulnerability management.
when you say monitoring, you can also do few more things, right? You can raise an alert or event and send it to the ticketing tool as well,
Yeah,
so
for
that
sure.
the other person gets the ticket too. Okay, what else? Sorry, someone was telling something. I missed it.
Yeah, something like vulnerability remediation, where we have to use the same type of commands to remediate the vulnerabilities.
Okay, config push only, right? Or show command, you mean to say?
Yeah, I think it would be config push to remediate the vulnerability. We might have
Yeah,
to.
so yeah, we can keep it under configuration only.
Yeah.
Okay.
uh, device backups.
Okay. Yeah, this is also one major aspect because a lot of enterprise spend lot of money using external services, but with the automation, Python automation specifically, you can get the solution for zero costing. You don't have to pay the money. Okay, what else do you think in your traditional network that you do? And have you guys do the copy work, the SCP
Yes.
or FTP or all these file transfer?
Yeah, we do that
Yes.
Oh yeah,
upgrading and all that. Yeah.
TFTP.
Yeah, so you can also automate the file transfer process. It could be on any XY reasons like upgrade or taking a backup or restoring the backup or upgrading or updating any patch files. Could be any reason. The SCP, FTP, these protocols are very heavily used. Okay, what else? So how about reboot of services? Because nowadays we see a lot of virtual instances, VM will have a lot of package or service installed which needs restart. If you install a SSH package or if you install some DNS package, you need to restart it. So you cannot go to each VM and click on that sudo start SSH or sudo SSH, right? So with just one command, you can also kind of prepare a automation script which can reboot the services, or it can, if you want to reboot routers, multiple routers, or if you want to reboot multiple VM instance on a cloud or on your hypervisor, you can do them as well. What other things that we can do?
Collecting
So
the logs from the devices and log analysis.
okay, so with the logs you mean to say show commands, right?
Yeah, with the show commands. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this scenario is heavily used when you do a upgradation, when you take a pre-check of, let's say, 10 to 20 commands. And after the upgradation is done, you also collect the post check. Okay, so you have pre and you have post, you will do the diff check then, and then you confirm in a call that everything is good or if there is something broken up after the upgrade. What else we can do?
Can we also fetch information from the text files and all that apart from Excel? Something like that.
Fetch the data from text, right? You mean to say?
Yeah, we had second point Excel. Like, can we do from other type of files like text files like Notepad or something like that?
Yeah, you can read and write back
Okay.
to Notepad text formats also. Okay, but yes, I just recalled one more point here. You can also read the exact text and put it in the Excel also. Say, for example, uh, you take, I hope you can see my screen. Okay. So let's say you are triggering a command, show version. So you know that this will have at least a 20 to 30 lines of output. But the ask is you take the uptime data, whatever is the uptime data. And this data has to be put up on the Excel sheet accordingly as per the row and column format. You do not need the entire 20, 30 lines. You just need the data. If it is up for 1 day or it's up for 1 week, the data must directly go and sit in that Excel. So you can also make use of automation and prepare such report. This is done using regex concept, okay, regular expression. This can also be automated. This is usually called as audit reports, okay, which you need to fetch and email it to someone. Yeah, you can also keep the email as one of the point. So if you have done with any Excel report generation, if you want to email, you can email them. And what else we can we do here? We can also, most importantly, we can also just get rid of any human errors. This usually happens during the maintenance window. Okay, if an engineer is given with let's say 3 change requests. Okay, what the engineer sometimes might do is he might copy the configuration of first change on the third. Might be he do a mistake by by copying the configuration of second on the first. Okay, this happens in a service level companies. Whenever overloaded tickets or maintenance window is being handled by one or two engineers. So what happens to this? This leads to outage. Your network might have a duplicate IPs now, or your outage starts here, right? So to even avoid such things, you can prepare automation script before the maintenance window. You can, let's say, you can create three script one,
This meeting is being
two,
recorded.
three. Okay. So guys, you don't have to record the video. I'm already recording this, and I'll also send you once the session is done. Okay. So let's say he will prepare three script, and he just on the maintenance window have to start the job. So he will start the job if it's at 9 a.m. He will start the job. Once the script is executed, he will go and run the second job. Once the script is finished, he will go and run the final job. So three tasks are done in a proper way. There is no copy paste error. There is no human error. So this is also one uh, very highly test area by introducing automation. Okay, and this is all the traditional problems as well. So what is the solution here? How can you think about a solution here? So solution is you automate them. Okay. So whatever is your concern, if you think from the automation side, you can prepare a script which can config. Okay. Not on one device, might be thousands devices. So at a time of configuration, if some devices are not reachable or authentication is not working, so you can take a record of those devices, bad devices, put in a Excel or Notepad, correct, and send an email to whatever customer team it is that these devices could not be performed because of so and so and reason. Let's say you had to take pre and post check. So you have the script ready with you. Script is executed. It will take all the pre collections and store respectively on a text format on your C drive, D drive, or any FTP folder. Well, and as the script is moving further, it will also take the post. And then there are different modules here, libraries here, which can take a diff check of both pre and post. And they will create you the HTML files, which will show you in a color coding format what is being added, what was removed, what got changed. Okay. So who is doing this? This is the script that does. And how do you write the script? So one of the favorite program nowadays is Python. There are some other tools as well. It's called as Ansible. Ansible is a configuration management tool. If you want to do the script writing in a very easier way, in a graphical manner, then you have the API concept also. So these are some ways to automate Python, Ansible, API. Apart from that, there are nowadays a lot of uh, programs that's been introduced. There is something called as Terraform. There is something called Golang. There is something called Django, Flask, the front end tools. So there are a lot of tools, but you need to start from somewhere. Since you told me that you guys have no prior knowledge on automation, so you have to start from somewhere. So you start your automation journey from these tools first. Once you're thorough with this, then the next step is you upgrade to some other programs. Okay. And might be after a couple of years, then you will see there is some more tools or programs that's been introduced. So you upgrade. It's like your CCNA. When you start your network career, no one tell you to go directly with CCNP. Correct? Everyone would have recommended to go first with CCNA. So you go with CCNA, then you get into a job, you have some hands-on experience, then you get into CCNP, more hands-on experience, then you get into CCI. Correct. So similar way, the automation is you start from some node, and to get started, these are the right tools and programming languages. And the Python is one of the very simplest programming language. So if you know basic on its theory, the rest you need to understand how do you implement on your script. Okay, it's a lightweight, easy to use program. Whereas on other side, the Ansible, the documentation of Ansible makes it easy to use. There are a lot of standard documentation. There are a lot of templates. So if you know where can you get the template and put in a right format, you're good with Ansible as well. Okay. And API is again on a easier side. You need to know the concept of HTTP. Okay. And if you know this, the rest of the thing you will do on the graphical based interface. Like you will select some options from drop down, you will add some entries. Okay, you will click on the send button and you have the output with you. So this is how the curriculum would be. After all this 3 modules are done, then we will also have the Cisco Devnet covered. So this is the exam code for the Devnet paper. Okay, so this is the official Cisco certification. So how many of you heard about the Devnet paper? So anyone who is not aware of Devnet?
I do not have that much knowledge or clue on Devnet.
Okay. No one heard about Devnet? What is Devnet certification?
If I want to guess, it should be something for developers networking.
Okay. See, our legacy Cisco certification has 3 tracks, right? CCNA, CCNP, and CCI. So there are multiple domains starting with enterprise, security, data center, service provider, collab, wireless, right? So it was in 2020 when Cisco also launched a parallel track named DevNet. Okay. So this got 3 domains now: CCNA, CCNP, and CCI. Okay. The specialization is called as DevNet. So this is more towards your API and the best practice used in the software domain and the basic network fundamentals. So nowadays there is no prerequisite for those freshers that they go and start the career from CCNA. Okay, a college grad can just start the career from the DevNet side. The DevNet will have 80% topics related to either automation or software side industry. Rest 20% about the network fundamental. So these people are a good fit for automation or automating the networks. But again, now there are certain time when they need a network engineer with a very solid understanding, because these people will not have a in-depth knowledge. Okay, might be they need a CCI who has networking experience as well as certification with, like, let's say 10 plus years, and also the knowledge of automation. So here is where most of you guys will sit if you are into network industry for a longer period. So you might have already done with CCNA, CCNP, or attempted CCI. Now this is your right time where you upgrade the skill set to automation. Someone who is a fresher, who do not want to get into that CCNA, then CCNP, then start with automation, they can also directly start with the DevNet curriculum. Okay, it's a parallel track, and most of the company nowadays have set this as must to have a certification, because what happens when they propose their bid or propose their proposal to the bidding authority, they have to show that we have 10 engineers who are DevNet certified. So once upon a time, that was equivalent to a CCI. The employers used to show that we have 10x into CCI to grab any new project. Nowadays, this is the trend. Most of companies are recommending or making a must rule to their employees to get this certification done. Okay, so to regarding to this certification, you can definitely go to the Cisco official website and search for Cisco DevNet 200901. So this is the exam code, and this is the certification. Okay, so it is very similar to your CCNA, CCNP, CCI tracks. This is your exam topics. Okay, this is the curriculum for the DevNet. So the last section is reserved for those freshers who are not into the networking, but they want to get started with automation, plus they need to have a very minimum knowledge on the networking concept. Okay, so as I told you, the course consists of these 4 modules: Python, Ansible, API, and finally Cisco DevNet. This program, what I'm planning this time is to conduct on every Saturday morning. For me, it's morning. You can do a respective time zone conversion. So 8:30 a.m. to let's say 3 hours of window, 3 hours of window or 4 hours of window, because it's only on Saturday, not on Sunday. Okay, only Saturday. And we can have a 15 minutes break in between. Okay, might be after 1.5 hours, another 15-minute break, and then the final session of 1 point. So this will take a minimum of 1.5 months to 2 months of duration. And all the curriculum we have documented here. So this is the curriculum. Over here is the course content. So this is the Devnet portion. These are Python library. I come to that. What does that mean? Libraries or modules. Okay. So NetMiko, Ansible, NEPAM. So to all together, we would have 20 modules. The module which I've put up here, this is like a assignment or a project based. So I as soon as finish some module, I will try to give one or two project related to that module, so that I make sure how much you have understood the topic and how good are you with your script writing. So at the end of 2 months, you can expect yourself writing the script uh, for at least automating some repetitive task like backup or sending email, reading from Excel, some audit report preparations. You can write your own scripts as well. So this is your kind of hands-on, okay, where you will work and then you will submit it, where we will evaluate your work. Rest, all these are labs itself. Okay, all these topics which I've put, these are the labs which would be discussed in the class. So these are all labs. Okay, so there are 20 altogether, 20 modules, and the last module is all your projects. This is how the lab topology look like. We have Cisco ASA firewall, Arista, Juniper firewall. These are some Cisco routers and Cisco switches. We also provide you the lab. You get 3 months of remote lab access. You can access it from anywhere. There's no need of any VPN. It's on the open cloud. If you have internet, you can connect over on public IP and work on this. If you need, for instance, you need Palo Alto or FY or let's say you want some Nexus, so we can also provide you some of them. Okay, some of the additional devices we can keep it for you, so that you can try working on those if that is your need as per your work expectations. Okay, but as I told you, we have put all the most popularly most frequently used vendors here. So any doubt with the curriculum and anything over here?
So with Python, you would start from scratch and you would be providing all the materials as well?
Yeah, that is right. Okay, so we will start with Python and we'll provide all the notes, and there would be some surprise test in between to check your theory knowledge. So let me tell you which topic we start once the batch commences from the next week. That is this topic. Okay, Python theory. So first I'll take the theory classes. So one day of full theory classes would be there, and then we start writing our script. So the script topic is over here. So we start using this then.
And you say how long the lab will be available? 3 months? Going to be
It is,
after the class or
see,
start now?
it is a unlimited access for 3 months. We don't restrict based on hours.
And it start now or after you complete the course?
The course will be done in 2 months. You have the lab access for 3 months. You're getting my point? It's a 3 month of unlimited access. So if you count 1.5 month to 2 months for completion, you still have 1.5 or one month of access left where you can practice.
Okay, I get your point now.
Okay, and also we provide you the home lab setup, but the condition is that you must have at least 16 plus RAM. Otherwise, the lab will not work. Okay, So that is your choice. If you have 16 plus RAM, you can ask our backend. They will help you on home lab setup. And this is gonna be lifetime on your machine until you do not delete. Okay. Okay, so guys, I'll show you some scripts today, so you know how these things work. Before we move on to that, let's understand how do you start automating using Python? What happens in the backend? Okay. So what is your interpretation about this? I mean, how do you think the communication happens between the script device, how the things are fetched, how the things are configured, what happens, how it happens, where does the Python script sit, whether on the device itself, outside, our jump server, Linux box, Windows machine? What is your interpretation about that? How it works?
Yeah, the script will be somewhere on our laptop or on some device where we um, say to run the script, and that goes and
Okay. So I can say there are, let's say there are three scenarios for that. Okay. So first scenario, as Soma told me, that we have a computer. Okay. And then over on VPN connection or something, we reach to these devices, the employer devices. So he might have a router, switches, firewall, servers, whatever. So my script sits here. My Python script sits here. Okay. So I must have a reachability to that. So it's like, how do you check the reachability? You can open that small tool called Putty, and you can do a ping to the device, or you can do a SSH. If they are reachable after your VPN connections, that means your Python script can also go on the same path and fetch you the details or configure. So this is the first scenario when you install it on your local machine. Okay. What would be the second scenario then? The second scenario is you got your machine. Okay. There is a ISP internet provider, and let's say this is your employer. So he got his devices kept in his data center, and he has something called jump server, or terminal server, or a Linux based server. So all the different users, they first connect to the VPN or whatever, and then they get into the jump server of that customer. And from the jump server, they initiate the connections. Okay. They don't initiate the SSH connection from here. That's a wrong thing. They do not have the reachability to ping or SSH from their machine. They have to connect to the VPN provided by customer. And from this machine, okay, from this machine, they have SSH and ping reachability to the further devices. Okay, you might have also seen this sort of customers as well. So in this case, where is your Python and all rest of tools gonna sit?
Jump server.
Yeah, it will sit here. Okay, whatever automation tools, Python or any required editors or whatever, it should sit on the jump server, and then you can automate it. Now, there is one challenge at this point. The challenge is on the same deployment. Sometimes the customer do not give you any permissions to deploy these Python or any tools on it. Okay, but you still want to automate it. So in that case, what you can do is you can go with a hybrid model of these two. So some Python script can be written where you can follow the hybrid method. Your connection starts from jump server, but he is not willing to allow you install or download any additional software. So in this case, you have to install it here. You have to install all the tools here. Your connection will start from this point. It will go till jump server. And from the jump server, the same main script will take the second connection. So this is the first connection from the local machine to the jump server. And the same script has to generate the second connection to the rest of the devices. So this is like a hybrid model. Okay, I can write that as 2A, or let's say 2B, and this was 2A. Now, the final thing, third scenario, that is on top of the box itself. So if you know these boxes like Cisco Nexus or ASR, okay, there are a lot of vendors nowadays who has Python already installed on the box itself. Okay, as you do all your show commands, push command, the Python also is installed on their backend. You can get into the Python console, prepare the script within that box itself, and run it from there itself. You do not need any other setup like uh, any machines or any kind of thing. It will run on top of the box itself. So these are some deployment scenarios. How do you start with your automation? So you're good with this, or any doubt anywhere?
Yeah, we are using the second scenario, and as you said
Second,
exactly,
second A or second B?
yeah, second B, where no, our company will not allow us to install anything on the Polar or Jump host.
Okay.
Still, we can able to run the scripts to make it automate.
Yes, we can do that. Okay, so
Yeah,
2B is your solution.
yeah, but we'll be using most of the firewalls, especially Palo Alto and FortiGate firewalls.
Yeah, that is not a concern. You can do whatever you want to do from your machine itself.
Okay. And
Yeah.
one more thing, like as of now, we are using some other script. I mean, our own company configured script that is to install the thousands of firewalls at a time, like downloading the software and installing, rebooting. All these things can be happened with that, but the
Okay.
configuration management and backup, these things we are unable to do it because it's customized only for our company.
Okay.
So
So
we can able to achieve that, right? Using Python or Ansible.
yes, you can, because in this curriculum, which firewall, by the way, Palo Alto or what?
Palo Alto and FortiGate.
Yeah, so I will be showing you the real scenario with the Palo Alto. Okay, we can do it with Python, Ansible, and APIs as well.
So API means we are using REST API for.
Yes, REST API.
Okay, thank you.
What about the libraries? Do we use the inbuilt libraries within Python, or we will be installing the third party?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you rephrase your question?
The libraries which we use, right? So in
Okay.
all the three scenarios which we
Yeah.
discussed, do we use any third-party libraries, or we use only the libraries within which comes within the Python?
Okay, I'll come to the library concept. Okay. Okay, so after the deployment part, let's say what all tools you need. Okay, tools required to prepare your script or your automation. So what are some of the tools, minimum tools we need? Yes, tell me what tools we need.
An IDE.
Maybe download Python.
Okay, so you need IDE, integrated development environment. So this is your application where you will prepare writing your script. We'll come to that. But before that, what else we need?
Putty or secure CRT?
Sorry?
Putty or secure CRT?
No, that you can ignore. You can avoid that
Uh,
because that option will be available in IDE also.
Python version
Oh,
itself, Python.
Yes.
Python
So
3.
yeah. So first we need to decide what programming or what configuration management tool we will be going with. So if I go with Python, I will go to the official Python website, download it. If I plan of getting Ansible, then I'll go and get this installed on a right platform. Or if I want the API way of automation, might be I need some tools like Postman, okay, and necessary things to be also integrated with. So first I decide what programming language or tools I need for this, because we don't go with all three at a time. We go with one or two, but most of the time one, and we go with second only when we feel the first one is having some limitation or something. No one wants to try and keep on trying. They all want to have a stable automation kit with them. So if you prepare Go with the Python, you will make sure that it can do all the job of your frequently happening traditional methods. You can resolve your traditional issues or whatever. So you will prefer going with Python. Okay. So once you have decided the necessary tools, then comes the ID. So if you think about Python, then you will go and download the necessary application. Okay. Python has applications supported like PyCharm or Microsoft Visual Studio. There are many more applications like Atom, Eclipse. You can also go with Anaconda, or you can also go with the normal Sublime or Notepad plus plus, but you don't go with them because they do not have auto correction, auto pop-ups, color coding system. So don't go with them. Go with something which has all this benefit. So this would be your Python ID, Python applications where you can start writing your Python scripts. But let's say you decided to go with Ansible. Will this support? Might be they not. Okay. So the Ansible sits best on a Ubuntu machine. So if you have a Ubuntu machine, you go to the terminal of it using some pip manager or or a sudo apt command. You can install the package, Ansible package, and from there you get started with the Ansible. Now, if you thought about going with the API method, so here you will download the applications like Postman. This will let you do all the API related testings. Okay. So second thing is selection of the right applications to get started with your uh, favorite programming or guys be on mute. Okay. So that is how you decide about the second step, what application you need, basis on your first step. The third step is among I mean let's say the third step is your target device or target device. Okay, now let's say that not all of you are looking to automate Nexus device, or not all of you are looking to automate SDWAN. Some might think about a 2950 catalyst, some would be trying to automate Palo Alto, some would be doing some FYLTM, right? So target device also matters. So there are a lot of vendors nowadays. You have Catalyst, Cisco devices, you have ASR, you got XC, XR, the vendors, different vendors like Palo Alto, F5. Okay, the cloud also is one of target, I can say, like GCP, Azure, AWS. So there are n number of vendors now. Now the next thing, the fourth step is you need to find a connecting path between your step 1 and step 3. Okay, so that means, let's say this is your computer, you decided to go with Python. Okay, and your target device is one of a iOS Cisco Catalyst device. So who is gonna talk between these two? So Python is a programming language. Okay, so here comes where you need to decide which library should I go with. And what library you need? You need a library which can initiate a SSH connection. Okay, so you will plan to choose right package. Okay, right package of what? Of whatever you decided on the step number 1. Let's say you had gone with Ansible. Okay, if you went with Ansible, Ansible also needs some sort of plugins or library in between. So Ansible has a 2.10, 2.9 series. Also, it has a versions like Galaxy. Okay, so you will decide what package is good with you. You will install that package. So every programming language will later on also need necessary plugins or modules or library which can do the initiation of SSH or APIs. And same goes with APIs as well. You have API, later on you will decide whether you want to go with the REST API calls, or there is a XML APIs, there is RPC APIs. Okay, there is different modules now required. Some go over on request library, some go on a NC client library, right? So this selecting the right package or right library is to be decided as per your vendor. Because let's say you go with the iOS and you decided to go with this package XYZ. Not necessary that XY package is also good for Palo Alto. Okay, because this XYZ is tested on iOS, but it may not be good with Palo Alto. So for Palo Alto, you have to come up with some other package, let's say ABC. So that is why I put the package selection on the step number 4, once you know what is your target device. Okay, so these are some 4 very important steps here, from starting with which program you want to start, what application you will go, what is your target device, and then you select the right package. Okay, and where would you put this? Where would you install it? That we already discussed. There are 3 to 4 different ways. If it is on the your machine, you will do it on your machine. If it is on the customer jump server, you will do it on his jump server. If it is on the box, then you do not need the step 2 at least. Step 2 and step 3 is not necessary. Python is already installed. You will just go with the package installation. Step number 4. So any doubt here so far? So good so far?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, regards to this, now more details on each one of them. That is point 2, point 3, and point 4. Point 1 is straightforward. You go to the official website and you will get the package there. Okay, you just have to download and install it. Okay, there are different versions of Python depending upon which operating system you use. You have Windows, you got Linux, Mac OS. Okay, so you just accordingly install it. For Ansible, as I told you, you want a Linux or Ubuntu machine. So once you have that necessary platform, then using the package manager, you can install it. If you wanted the third option, that is the API method. So for API, we had something called as Postman. So Postman is like a application which you can download it, install it, and from here you can test your API calls. So this was your first step, deciding what way of automation you want to carry. Now let's go and focus on the second, third, and fourth. So second was selecting the application. Okay. So let's say you selected Python. So you search for Python IDE. Sorry, it's IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So when you go with this, these are the list of some of the applications. You don't need all of them. You can go with any one, okay, or max 2. In our class, I will show you using this PyCharm. So the good thing about PyCharm is it has auto error detection. As soon as I will put a wrong syntax, it will tell me there is a issue at the line number 12. Then I go back and I can fix it up. It also has a auto pop-up feature. Let's say I decided to go with the package XYZ. As soon as I put the first character, it will tell me that these are the available options. Do you want to go with one of them? The third thing is that it has a color difference to highlight error or variables or the different datas inside the Python script, so that if I have to like write 100 lines of code, I can quickly glance on the script that the things are good, or if I'm not missed anything. Okay, and it's faster, easy to write, okay, simple to use, and most importantly, it's free as well. The community version, you can just download, install, and use it permanently. There are other tools where you have to pay the money and then you can use the service. The second alternative that I would recommend is to go with the Visual Studio, Microsoft Visual Studio. It comes with the free and paid version too. It also got all these features: auto error detection, auto pop-up, color difference, is faster, easy to write. So it's your choice. Whatever tool you want, you can go ahead with it. Okay, there is nothing like the limitation of one to other. It's your choice, whatever you want to go and start with. Okay, but I would say don't go with the Notepad plus plus or the Sublime. because they would miss the pop-ups and error detection and all rest of the things. Okay.
Visual Studio, I thought it's just 1 or 2 months free and then you have to pay for it.
Okay, but I think there is a community version which you can use it, right? Is it only for 2 months? I'm not sure, but I think it's not for 2 months, I believe.
All right, no problem.
Yeah. So this IDE is for Python. If you'd have went with Ansible, then what? Then you go and download Ubuntu, because that is the best way for you to install package and on that. So there is a Ubuntu desktop. It's again free to download. Ubuntu download desktop version. There is a 22 series going on. You download this and install on one of the workstation or player. VM player is also sufficient, or you want to go with VM Workstation Pro, you can also go with this. Okay, there are this comes with a trial version of 30 to 60 days. If you don't want to get into all that stuff, you just download the free version, which is called VMware Player. Okay, this is a free version. Install this, and on top of this, just load up this operating system. Once you have this, then you can install the Ansible package and you're good to go. So that is for Ansible.
Can you use Oracle VirtualBox as well instead of
Yes.
VMware?
Yes, you can use Oracle as well, VirtualBox. Okay. And
For
yeah.
Python, for Python, can we also use Anaconda navigators?
Yes, it's your choice. I mean, until or unless if it does all the basic things, then it's your choice to go with it. Okay. And if you decided to go with the third option, that is API methods, then you have applications like Postman. There's also something called as Insomnia. Both are very lightweight program, dashboard based. Download, install, and you can follow step by step instructions. You are ready to test your API calls. Okay. Once they are tested, you can convert into Python script and also execute from your machine. So these all things will be taken once again, once the class commence on the next weekend. So today is just a demo class where I just give you overview on the tools and how we get started. Okay, so this was related to IDE. Now target device. Target device, we know there are the hardwares. These are all the hardwares. So how would we do how would we bring this target device for our testing purpose, for our home lab setup? So the thing is, you need one of the emulators like GNS3, EVNG, Cisco's CML2. Okay, or you can also go with the PNet labs. You cannot go with the Packet Tracer because Packet Tracer do not have any such availability or Docker availability for automation. Okay, so any of this you can openly go and start. So most of these are free to use. At least the community version is free to use. Apart from CML2, they do not have a free version. The package starts with 199. But the good thing is they provide you the software's necessary images within them. The rest of things might be free, but then you have to figure out how do you get the iOS file. Okay, whatever device you want to test out, you need the iOS file for them. So you have to upload in the backend, get it ready. So this is the lab environment where you would test. If you have your own employer providing you the lab, then that can also be used. Most of the employer nowadays provide the lab to their employees, right? So if you have that scenario that you have access to your lab, then we can use that as well. I mean, we in the sense you can use that in the sense, okay. And those people who do not have such options, then these are some of them which you can leverage upon. Well, those guys who are enrolled to the curriculum, we will give you the ready-made lab. So our labs are ready to use. You just have to download and put up on that VM player or virtual box. Power it on. Takes 5 to 10 minutes to boot up all the devices, and you're ready. Okay, this is to those who are enrolled to the batch, and this remains with you even after the class is done or batch is done. Otherwise, if you just are doing it yourself, then you need to figure it out. How can you get these and sort it out? So that was regards to target device. And finally, the most important thing, selecting the package. Okay. Again, this can be divided into the different areas because all have their own way of doing this. So Python is a broad one. I'll take it up once I finish these two. So for Ansible, you have very limited packages, but yes, there is a concept of package. If you go with, let's say, 2.9, 2.8, or 2.10, this is one option. Otherwise, if you plan going with Galaxy version of Ansible, then you have to select whether you want the PAN-OS Galaxy version, or you want the FI Altium Galaxy version, or you want the iOS Galaxy version. You will install the appropriate one on that Linux box wherever Ansible is installed, and you will start writing the playbook. Playbook is nothing but the script, and you can execute, configure, fetch, whatever you want to do it, you can do it. Okay. So this is where the selection of packages required. For API, once you have the necessary application like Postman, uh, most of the time the vendor lets you have two ways of automating, either REST APIs or XML API. Okay. If you consider Palo for purpose, Palo for reason, Palo also has two ways, XML and REST. So you need to know which one you need. At the end, if it's about only automating or configuration or fetching, you might be okay with either one. But let me tell you the difference. This gives you the output in a simpler way. It makes use of JSON, whereas this gives you the output in XML, which is hard to read. Okay, whereas this is easy to read. So most of people prefer going with this, but sometimes some vendors only accept XML. So in that case, there is no option left. So you have to use the XML method only. Okay. So this is also one sort of decision making, whether you need the REST API method or XML API. If a vendor lets you both, then you can select the REST API. Yes, go ahead.
So is XML API also netconf, or it's different than netconf?
Netconf has nothing to do here. Okay. I'll tell you where netconf comes. These are protocols. Okay, these two are called protocols. RESTconf make use of HTTP, NetConf make use of SSH. Okay,
Okay.
and internally, this supports JSON data and this supports XML data. Okay, but they are two different things. It's about what they support. I hope you got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you would be covering both RESTconf and NetConf in the course, or just RESTconf?
No, no, we will cover both. I will show you both from Python scripting point as well, using the Python's library.
Okay, because I would like to understand, like, how would a northbound API be used differently than a southbound API? That's why.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so this is about API Ansible. Now coming to Python, because Python has a heavy number of packages. So to get started with this, let me give you one simple example. Let's say you just bought a new phone. Okay, something from Samsung. You have its operating system, which is Android. They give you a lot of bloatwares or applications pre-installed. Okay, but you're not happy with those stock applications. So what you do, you go to the Play Store, you search for, let's say, music player, and then you get hundreds of recommendation. Some are free, some are official, some are having a trial version, some are having direct paid version without trial versions. Okay, but let's say there are certain factors that makes you select one of them. Let's say the ratings, okay, or number of years they have been active, or the last update on that application, because you do not want to use a music player which was not been updated for last 10 years, right? So whatever factors you check or you always believe, let's say you download one of them, and then you start using this application inside your mobile. Okay, so same goes might be with any other specification as well. You want to go with gaming, you will check the genre, you will see ratings, number of comments, etc., etc., and you will use it. So why I'm bringing this is because here in Python is just a programming language. Okay, it cannot initialize any SSH trigger by itself without you decide what library you want to go with. And when you, let's say, go to Python and search for this keyword like SSH package or something, you will get a lot of recommendation. So there are recommendation like Paramiko, Netmiko, okay, Nornia, PyNTC, Scraply, Nipalm, okay, and many more. Let's say 100 others. So as I told you, there were some criteria while you select some application on your Android Play Store. So here also there should be some factors, right? Otherwise you cannot blindly go and install one of this and test it out. Later on, you come to know that this do not have a very simple basic feature which you wanted in your production, right? So you will then check the user review. You might check some factors. So what factors we need while we select the SSH package? So one factor is that it supports multi-vendor, because now not all of them supports multi-vendor. Even if they supports multi-vendor, might be they supports 4 vendors. Okay, might be this supports 5, this supports 6, might be this supports 30 plus. So you gradually get some attention towards this from the multi-vendor factor. Second thing, let's say the functionality. Okay, functionality in the sense, can it send the command? Can it be used for configuration? Can it do the file transfers? Can I do the upgradation of my device? Okay, lot of other factors from our networking concept. So most of them is handled. Let's say NetMiko can do 100 of functionality. Nornier can do 70 of functionality. PyNTC can do 80s of functionalities. Scraply can do, let's say, 85 of functionality. Paramiko can support, let's say, 30 of functionality. Let's say all your functionality is covered by most of them. You do not need everything. You don't do everything in your production, right? You whatever 4 or 5 frequently functions that you need, copy, reboot, or the frequent one, they're handled by all of them. So now that's a tiebreaker. It's a tie over here. So what you bring up now? What you want next? Next, you will think about documentation, whether they have a proper documentation to get started. Do they have a proper customer support? Correct. If you're stuck somewhere, how would you raise the ticket, or is there any open community or a forum of people, groups, or people who voluntarily support something? Because this is an open source, right? This is not a paid version. It's an open free source. So someone has to be voluntarily supporting or supporting you. And now again, might be this is good, this is good, this is good. Most of the latest packages, you will see a lot of people voluntarily supporting. Okay, so now let's say you will feel that this has less number of, so you eventually take out this now from your list. Okay, or any other things you will take out. Now you're still left with 4 to 5 still options. Okay, so then you come with some more factors. Then you will think that let's think about the speed also. So when it comes about speed, let's say if it is only one device, so all these things are very faster. They just take seconds. Might be 2 seconds is enough to deal with one device if it is a simple show run or any show fetch. But let's say you wanted to configure something, you wanted to do some clear IP OSPF process or clear BGP neighborship reset, might be take some additional time for that. Okay, let's say 5 seconds for that. So 5 seconds for one device. If it is one device, you still can go with all of them. All those 4-5 options, you can prefer going with them because they are meeting your expectation. But if the requirement was, let's say, 100 device or 1000 device, or let's say 5000 device. Okay, now you need to know from speed factor. Okay, if this 100,000, 5,000 were the scenario, will these still be behaving the same or not? Okay, now from this list, I can make one group of NetMiko, PyNTC, NEPAM, or the Scraply. Okay, I can make this list of one, and I can put another module like this. Now, why I made two different groups is these works on fundamental of connection after connection, okay, or device after device. So once your script has been executed, it will first take the SSH connection with the first device. Once the job is done, it will terminate that connection and reuse that same connection with the second box. The connection, the job is done, it will disconnect and trigger the third connection. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. So let's say if it took 5 seconds here, 5 seconds here, 5 seconds here, you can just count for the last device. Okay, you can just multiply with so and so. So this is the total time that your script takes for thousands of devices. If it is 100 devices, may not be you see a heavy difference. Okay, might be matter of some minutes, like let's say 30 minutes for total execution using any of this. Okay, let's see how Nornier works, how this module works. This works on basis of parallel connections. So you have package here, and you have multiple device. So you can take connections all at a time. Okay, so if this is happening on 1 second, this is also happening at the same second, and so on. So now all the 4 device, it happened in 1 second only. Okay, now the speed factor is also important. When you have devices like thousands of count, if you have 50 device or 100 device or 250 device or 300 device, still speed factor is not a concern. Okay, you can go either of it. You can go with either of it. If it is just 100, 250, 300, even up to 500 device. Concern starts when you are having more than 1,000, like 2,000, 5,000. You're configuring, doing a lot of job there. Now you want speed, right? You need the script to execute within the limited time, given time. Because as I told in the beginning, you're performing a maintenance window. You have 3 change windows, and each change window has its own time, 60 minutes. So once this is done, then they ask you to execute the second change. Guys, give me just 1 second. Sorry guys, I'm back. You people here?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so as I was telling this about the speed, if you have 3 maintenance window, 60 minute, you have to finish a change. Okay, and let's say you had 1,000 devices. If it's take 120 minutes, that means your automation script is not good. You need a faster solution here so that it can be done within this. Okay. So yes, this is about the speed. We will discuss more about this in the class. I'll just demonstrate one simple script now to show you this speed factor. You can understand yourself about the speed factor. Okay. And then once we start with the curriculum and the actual batch, I'll start taking you by writing each one of these scripts, okay, step by step. So I'll show you one script somewhere from the corner of our syllabus. Okay, so guys, I have two scripts with me. I have kept so-called Nornier script here, and one of the NetMiko script over here. Let me rename this. Give us it. Okay, this is my NetMiko script and this is Nornier script. And to show you that practical, I'll run on these target devices. So I got Cisco devices, and there are total 8 devices. I've taken down the IPs and I've kept it in this notepad. Where's my notepad? Let me open this. So these are all the devices. Okay, device IP. I'm gonna read this source of file inside my script. Okay, let me also tell you what this script is gonna do before we get started. So let me make some changes first. 25 config. Let me put the path. So when you're reading from any external directory or path, remember to put the complete path along with the file which is having the IPs or whatever configurations you want to push. So to demonstrate today's class, might be I will use these lines. Okay, so I want to configure something, and I also want to take some show commands. Let me take the file name and keep it here. Okay, so when I start executing the program, I just right click and click on the run button. Okay, so it took certain timers to execute. So that is shown here. It took 5.9 seconds. 5 seconds, 0.9 millisecond. I can open up a notepad and first put a Nornier speed test. First attempt. 5 seconds, 9 millisecond. I'll just do another 3 tests we will perform and we will take the average of that. Okay, now it takes 5.7. And by the way, how many devices we got? We have 8 Cisco device. What are we pushing? We are pushing some config lines plus some show commands, show CLI commands. Okay, so I can say 10 CLI commands altogether. Took 5.9, 5.7, and let's try the third attempt. So it takes 5.6 now. I can say average of what? 5.75. Is that good? So remember, this is in millisecond and this is in second. Okay, it's not minutes or something. 5 seconds, 5.75, which is 5 seconds, 75 millisecond. Now the same test on the same device or the same 10 CLI command, let's do on NetMiko as well. That is also another module that we had, which supports multi-vendor and lot of other things. Let me see whether it's pointing to the same IP, list of same IP. Yes. Whether it's also taking the same file for the config push. Okay, I think that is this file, right? So let's point to this. And we have put all the start and end timers. Let's start this. So this is with NetMiko, first attempt, okay? See the timer. So let's update here. First attempt, 27 seconds.
What if there is an error in the command or any typo in the command? So would the script give an error, or it'll how would
Yeah,
that work?
there are two things possible. One is, as you told, typo in command. And second is if there is typo or device issues. Okay. So if it is a typo in command, you get a instant reply in this output saying that invalid command detected, something like that. But script will not stop. Okay. Script don't stop. But if it was a device issue, connection issue, then the script will also stop at instantly. Script will instantly stop. There is a workaround that script should not be stopped or halted due to the device issue. You can bring the error handling concept here using try except method, which is already present right now in that script. So what happens, even if one device is down, it will go with the second device and continue till the end. But for typo in command, nothing happens. The script will not stop. It will give you in the on the screen itself that there is a invalid command detected.
Understood. Because sometimes if you miss one exit and then still you continue with the script, so that you typing the wrong command in the wrong mode, configuration mode.
Yes. So for that device, you will see the error warning. It's not error, it's warning that you executed the config and the enable or user mode, and everything will be visible on the side. But script will still go to the next box without
Okay.
any. Okay. Okay. So I'm doing the third attempt now. So by now, I believe you are already aware what the conclusion would be, but you can still come up with your conclusion because I'll give 2 minutes for that. So you will tell me the conclusion about the packet selection and what is your understanding from today's demo. Okay. Because in another 10-15 minutes, we will be winding up the session. So the conclusion, I'll want to keep it here. The stats are here. Now you come up with your point of expression. Okay, what you think about this test that we did.
What
If you
about the
would,
CPU? What about the CPU? Does this there will be some difference when we use different libraries?
uh, okay, now coming to that CPU part. Okay. So for CPU or process part, all the modules will take a very equivalent consumption of the processors. Okay. But yes, when you have these two groups, since these are taking one after one connection, so let's say if it used 1% for the first device. So once the connection is reused by the second device, the same 1% is occupied by the second device, and it keeps on guys. Okay, so it keeps getting reutilized. Okay, the 1% or whatever, let's say 20% it takes for one SSH to a device. So same 20%, hardly plus or minus one or two, keeps on reusing by second device, then third, fourth. So your CPU doesn't spike instantly to 100. But what happens here in Nornier is, let's say you're taking 10 connections, they all happens at a faster space, but CPU will also increase, because if it's taking 20% on one side, 20% on second device, so whatever the numbers of devices you had kept, they all has to be added now. So 20, 20, 20, 20, let's say it is taking 80%, so your CPU will go to 80% or 100%. So here, in this case, you have to decide how many parallel connections you can accumulate. Okay, as per your resources, because your server, if you're the owner, you can also give it 32 GB. If you're not the owner, you got it from your customer, they only give you 4 GB of the RAM allocated on that VM. If that is the case, if 4 GB is the case, you can go with 10 concurrent connection. If you are the owner of that VM, you can run even 500 connections at a time. Okay, so you need to know what is your server capability, and basis on that server capability, you can tweak the number of parallel connections. 10, 100, 20, 500, 1000 is your choice. Okay, so CPU is also one factor, completely depends on the module, number of devices you want to fetch, and all the things. Okay, so tell me, by after listening to all five things, your conclusion. Okay, I want a mixed answer. Okay, so to bring up a mixed answer, let me give the scenarios. First scenario is, I have 10 device, I only got Cisco box. Second scenario is, I got let's say 150 device, and I got Cisco Palo, and my job is to config, show command, or do the SCP. And then the third, very last scenario is, I have 5,000 device, and I got these Cisco, uh, might be F5. Okay, and let me put here F5 or Dell. Okay, 𝐍𝐸, or any other vendor. So tell me your conclusion for each one. Which module might be you prefer, and on what basis? Who want to start? Just one line is sufficient. I don't need a complete answer. Just whatever you understood.
For first, I think we can go with the NetMiko since we are using only 10 devices, Cisco only, if time is not the constraint.
Okay. Do you only want to go with NetMiko, or you can also go with any other module?
Even Paramiko works because I
Okay.
have worked with NetMiko and Paramiko only.
Okay. So if this is the case, anyone else who have used PyNTC and EPAM? Okay, no one, right? No issues. So if this is the case, then you can also go with these. The reason is these are very easy to use, very easy to use. And since there is only 10 device, time is not your concern here. The benefit of going with NEPAM and PyNTC is that they have a ready-made get commands. Okay, so even if you don't want your customer to remember these commands like show IPR or show IP route or all the show command, they can still go with some ready-made templates, right? Like get R, get route, get facts. So that's the benefit of going with NEPAM and PyNTC. Okay, and it's very easy to write. One of the easiest program.
They
Okay,
only support Cisco?
they will support five vendors, five different vendors like F5, Junos, Arista, Cisco, and some supports even Nexus. That's all. They don't support Palo and other things. That is why I put Cisco only.
Understood.
Oh, okay. Second point, 150 device, F5, Cisco, Palo, Dell, Huawei. The normal task is SCP, show, config, backup, restoration. So now
Nornir,
Nornier will not support these vendors.
You would go with NetMiko.
Yeah, so NetMiko is your choice here. Because NetMiko is only one that module which will support all of them. Okay.
okay. Okay.
And if it was a 5,000 device and just Cisco and F5, then
Nornir.
Nornir.
yeah, in this case, you will go with Nornier. Okay, because Nornier will support these vendors. But is there any customization possible? In the sense, you know that NetMiko can do all the job and
Definitely.
yeah, and multi-vendor
On,
concept.
on
Yeah.
point two, we can use Nornir for Cisco and supported devices. The rest we can use NetMiko.
That is again a challenge because then you have to prepare multiple scripts and all that, right? So what I
Right.
was thinking to tell you is customization in the sense when we take the class of Nornier, you will understand what Nornier is basically. I can just give you one word that it's like a outer wrapper. Okay, whereas Nornier internally will make use of this internal wrapper for all the connections. So basically what Nornier is, it is just to provide the concept of threading. Okay, multi-thread concept. It's like a sugar-coated solution which is wrapped on top of NetMiko and people use Nornier. But how about if we use the same module in this place? A thread module along with NetMiko can also bring us the parallel connections, right? And we can achieve not 150, even 5,000 device we can achieve. And the good thing is you have multi-vendor as well supported, right? So this also you can do, but it's little complex. You need to bring up the multi-threading concept inside NetMiko. You have to integrate one to other, and then you can automate the stuff. Okay, so this is kind of like advanced thing when you further move with the basic writing of scripts and all other things. So on the first day, if you even understood what module, on what basis you select the module, how you automate, what are the tools, that is sufficient on day one. And as we proceed, we write a basic script, then to the next level of script, then we bring on these sort of multi uh, plugins and all. You will get into the next stage of it. Okay, so this is the conclusion part of today's. And tomorrow there is another demo class at the same time. And the agenda for tomorrow's demo is, since you people are not familiar with Python, we will touch some basic Python theory, and then I'll show you a basic NetMiko script writing. A basic.
Does the course covers web app development as well, like Django and Flask and what?
No, not this course. This course don't support any web development. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, so this is the agenda for tomorrow's demo, which starts at 8:30 India. Python theory, we will see the different topics like the data types, variables, comments, if statement, for loops, and all those stuff. Then we will see how do we write our first Python script to take a SSH and might be to do some show commands or something. Okay, and then and yes, some tool installation that is required for your automation class. And then we have a 1 week of time where the interested people can enroll to the batch. The class, the actual locked session will start from the 3rd September, which is the actual day one, and we start fresh from that class. Okay, and it's a locked session from that onwards. It's a Saturday only class, starting from 8:30 a.m. for 3 to 4 hours of session. Okay, with a break of 15 minutes in between, and a total duration of 1.5 to 2 months. What modules we cover? We cover Python, Ansible, APIs, REST APIs and XML APIs, and the Devnet, Cisco Devnet 200901. So these are the 4 modules. And for in-depth syllabus copy, you can visit our official page. It has all step-by-step names of the topic titles, which you can refer. Okay. So this is all from my side for today. I'll connect with you guys in the next demo that is happening tomorrow. So if you have any doubt from today's class, you can let me know before we wrap up. So any doubt, any concern, any so those people who never joined any boot camps or any Python automation. So any doubt from your side?
How about the support? Like, after we have finished the training, maybe
Okay.
after 2 months, and while we are doing in our production environment, if we have any queries, like we are not able to go forward, in that case, are you good to support us, or
Yeah, so we have a backend team who are 24/7 available. Okay. So we support our enrolled student.
Okay, we can reach them for any kind of issues in the future, right?
Yes. Okay, and the recording of this session would be put up on our YouTube channel as well after some time. So if someone joined late or missed, you can visit our YouTube channel, which is this. Under the video session, you will find the updated video of today's, okay, after hour or 2 hour. And tomorrow's bridge remains on the same Zoom ID that you registered today. Okay, so that's all from my side. I hope you all are good. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.